My colleague from Watertown, State Representative Steve Owens, who's here to speak on behalf in support of House Bill 2094 and Senate Bill 1280, an act to update the public shade tree law. Representative Owens, my fellow classmate, it's good to see you back.
Mr. Chairman, great to see you in this context. Thank you so much for taking me out of turn. Thank you to the members, the esteemed members of the committee. As you said, I'm here to testify in support of H 2094, an act to update the public shade tree law. That's Chapter 87. It regulates street trees and the powers of municipal tree wardens. The Massachusetts public shade tree law has not been updated materially for about 100 years. And we need a law that reflects the time we're living in. You know, a lot of things have happened in the past 100 years or so, not the least of which is the development of modern forestry techniques, and the Commonwealth's landscape and human ecology has changed significantly in that time. And I'll give you an example. Current law, as laid out by Chapter 87, it sets the fine for those who damage a tree or plant by wantonly, negligently, or willfully driving their animal into it as $500. But there is no fine for driving your automobile to doing the same because it predates the widespread adoption of the automobile. The bill rectifies this anachronism. So right now, if you drive your horse and buggy into a tree, you can be fined $500 if you do it on purpose. If you drive your car on purpose into a tree, you're free and clear. Additionally, current law states that every public shade tree, those are the trees that are along the side of the road, owned by the municipality, bigger than 1.5 inches in diameter, which is about the size of this. Anything that has grown, a weed tree, for example, on the side of the road that's grown, you put off maintenance for 2 years or 2 seasons, tree grows about this big, requires a public tree removal hearing by the tree warden in your municipality right now. This changes that. It increases it to 4 inches, about yay big. So only significant trees along the side of the road owned by the public will need to have a hearing to be removed. This allows utilities, tree wardens, especially those in rural communities, to do routine maintenance much easier. The bill also updates Chapter 87 to move some of the fines that were set years ago by rules and regulation to rules and regulation rather than in statute. Big example of this is it would change the penalty for illegally removing shade trees from $500 to the value of replacing the tree. Just last year in Somerville, a developer illegally removed about 4 public shade trees in the course of their construction. They were told not to. They did it anyway. The city was surprised and outraged that the maximum fine they could levy was just $500. As you might imagine, $500 does not go very far to replace a tree, particularly in a dense urban environment like Somerville. Last session, they submitted testimony in favor of the Somerville City Council. Lastly, this bill would just require that every tree warden have. Oh, we're not going again.
No, it's not. You're just taking up a lot of your time.
Well, I apologize. This bill just ensures that tree wardens have a sufficient level of expertise, have their sufficient training and certification for their role in their town. Every municipality does have somebody designated as their tree warden, and climate change has made the maintenance of tree canopies just more crucial than ever in protecting the health and sustainability of our communities. The U.S. Forest Service estimated that neighborhoods with well-shaded streets can be up to 6 to 10 degrees cooler than neighborhoods without street trees, reduces the heat island effect in our urban areas, reduces our energy needs, and I park under a tree in Watertown, keeps my car a little bit cooler on these hot days, means I get to use less air conditioning when I start up the engine, saves emissions. So this would bring the public shade tree law into the 21st century, skipping over the 20th entirely. And in previous legislative sessions, this bill has been reported favorably from this committee. I think for the past 5 sessions, it was reported out favorably, at least 4, from between my predecessor and myself filing it. And I respectfully ask that the committee to give this common sense bill a favorable report this session as well. So thank you for your consideration. And if you have any questions, happy to answer them.
We do actually have a question. I know that Representative Scarsdale is joining us virtually and has a question. Representative Scarsdale.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and the committee. Thank you, Rep. Owen. I'm wondering if you can tell me how the threshold of 10,000 for the cutoff of the training for tree warden was decided. Like communities under 10,000, the wardens do not have to have that training.
Right. For a lot of community, the smaller rural communities, sometimes, I mean, every community has a tree warden. Sometimes that person is just designated as some other municipal employee, and the town clerk is also the tree warden. The head of DPW is also the tree warden. We felt that once a municipality gets to be a certain size, there should be some guarantee that person has some level of training in modern forestry techniques. And those classes and certifications are available. They're not, it's something that many and most, I believe, tree wardens have. So the real impetus behind that $10,000 threshold is just we don't want to burden a very small town whose tree warden is also, wears 50 different hats. But we do think that once a municipality gets to be a bigger size, it is important that their tree warden be educated with modern forestry techniques. I mean, I think this is we in the world where our climate is warming, it's really important to have these trees and have these not just as carbon sinks, but as as we see the fires that are happening, the floods. Somebody who is responsible for the trees can really help mitigate some of those.
Thank you.
Any other questions from committee members? Seeing none, I do have just a couple of questions on the certification process.
Okay.
How time consuming and costly are some of these certifications that we would be asking tree wardens and communities to actually get? I'm just wondering.
So I don't have that information, but I believe we have the head of the Tree Warden Association.
I know that Tom Brady
later.
is in the warm-up room to test.
Right. So they may have more updated numbers than I have for that.
Great. Well, I can assure you that a tree hearing sounds riveting, almost as much as this one. But thank you, Representative. When on Arbor Day, I think the best line that we heard: "When's the best time to plant a tree?" 20 years ago. When's the next best time? Today. So thank you for your work and thank you for testifying.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.